So, it's time to start our webinar. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the participants who joined us during this webinar. My name is Dmitry Shatkov, and I'm Chief Content Officer at Aheadworks. We are glad to see you here. Hope the connection is great, you can hear me well and see the splash screen introducing our talk. Today, we are hosting this webinar together with Artem Kuznetsov, Aheadworks product owner. Hi, Artem, nice to see you here.
Hello, Dmitry. Hello, everyone.
And we are going to discuss an effective approach to e-commerce analysis and sales management from the perspective of digital sales funnels. Our webinar is going to have two main sections, performance tracking and performance enhancements. Next comes the Q&A section, where we will answer all your questions if you have any. You can also send your question to our chat during the whole presentation before the Q&A section starts. So, what is the biggest problem of e-commerce tracking? That's right, it's extremely complicated. The number of existing metrics and parameters is over 100 and even more. For example, if you ask Google something like e-commerce KPIs, you will discover that some individual articles highlight up to 55 indicators at once. However, it's well known that if you try to accomplish too many tasks simultaneously, you will be successful with no one. So, how can we choose the right metrics to be used, for example, for daily or short-term tracking? Of course, it depends on your goal, but most likely daily monitoring is accomplished in order to make sure that everything is okay and things go as they are supposed to. So perhaps in this case the amount of sales is going to be enough. Well, not quite. The thing is that sales describe only the bottom line of business, but do not actually explain the conditions and circumstances shaping the above result. It may happen that sales remain fixed, while some other factors have already begun changing. So, using sales as the only KPI, we are also deprived of the possibility to detect early negative shifts in the environment or inside the company. But how many KPIs for daily tracking do we really need? According to the Miller's law, the number of objects an average human can hold in working memory is 7 ± 2. In this light, with the sales funnel models with 5 levels look really reasonable and attractive. If we take that, we need only one indicator for each level. 5 KPIs is the total number of measure units able to describe the whole process of sales. This number of KPIs is enough to describe the general state of business, takes no much time to be checked and compared, makes the whole model of the sales funnel useful and applicable to describe and interpret any particular online business. So what do we have here? The number of impressions, the number of clicks, the number of orders, the number of repeat orders, and the number of reviews. And some derivative indexes, including click-through rate, conversion rate, customer lifetime value, sales to reviews ratio, and net promoter score. Apparently, in order to say whether the whole process is successful or not, we need to set up a reference sales funnel to be considered as optimal. It can be either the model built upon current results, some successful results in the past, or a benchmark we'd like to achieve in the nearest future. Now, each day we are going to have two funnels, the reference one and the second displaying the current performance. In this case, however, we approach the concept of dynamic sales funnels and funnel comparisons. These funnels do not only need some measurements, but also require some acceptance criteria for measurement deviations. I mean that when you compare two funnels, you should determine maximally acceptable decreases of performance indicators. Different funnel levels may have different acceptance criteria, at least due to the numeric value differences. As you can see on the slide, the lowest possible decrement for the sales level of the funnel is 10% only. This way, the funnel becomes complicated enough so we start thinking about a tool able to present all the above information at once for a quick view. And the first solution that comes to your mind is definitely Google Analytics. However, sometimes it doesn't track all the conversions and can be inaccurate. So, tracking the performance on the Magento side can be more sound and reliable. And we have something to offer in this case. Using for this purpose our Advanced Reports extension for Magento 2, you can easily arrange the above daily tracking with the provided performance dashboard. It allows you to track up to 10 parameters, including unique visitors, a number of orders, and conversion rates, comparing current performance with a particular comparable period, reference funnel. You can also track deviation at the spot and have a complete picture of your funnel, at least of the stages that directly belong to your store. If you detect a decrease in sales, you definitely need to localize the issue. So in this case, you have to look at sales from different angles, for example, by categories, locations, products, payments types, manufacturers, product attributes, and so on. Advanced Reports is also able to provide you with all the above information and reports. So, as a result of our considerations, we determined that sales funnels are able to represent any particular online business with 5 main funnel levels. Tracking the 5 parameters of the funnel, we are able to draw a sufficient picture of our performance suitable for daily tracking. And using some specific tools, we can automate the tracking process, detect early negative performance changes, and localize the cause of the cutback. That's really great, of course, but we do not only need to detect dangers, but also need to improve our current performance. And sales funnels can also help us to undertake some reasonable and efficient actions. By the level of influence, each funnel has 2 areas, the so-called indirect impact zone and the area of direct influence. The first one can be influenced only indirectly, since most of the traffic sources do not really belong to a company. The second is entirely formed on our side, where the success is significantly determined by our actions. Also, any funnel has its own diameter and flow rate, determining its potential throughput. For e-commerce, the limitation of diameter are mostly determined by server capabilities, which can be easily expanded if necessary. The flow rate, meanwhile, depends on many factors and can be improved by the online seller, especially within the area of direct influence. So, if the levels of direct influence look more promising for sales improvements, how can we specifically use this chance? The options are really numerous, but today we'll focus on some really fruitful ones, and the first one is checkout, of course. The number of potential customers can be really big, but it doesn't mean that all of them will convert into real ones due to, for example, some checkout issues. Unexpected shipping costs, the need to create new accounts, security concerns, confusing process, or lack of discounts. All these issues lead to checkout abandonment, which still can be avoided easily with the Smart One-Step Checkout extension by Aheadworks. Besides, the module serves great as a funnel flow rate accelerator as soon as the provided checkout behavior report on this slide allows detecting and demolishing possible process bottleneck knowingly. As you can see, the report shows the number of customers who passed one or another checkout section. This way, we can determine the areas with the greatest exit rates and remove the hurdles preventing customers from purchases. Additionally, we can track abandonment in dynamics and determine whether current results are good or bad compared to the previous performance. And finally, I'd like to show you the one-step checkout page where we try to avoid any possible reasons able to take customers away from purchases. So it's quick and clear, contains a lot of automations, make it possible to use additional payment means, including coupons, reward points, gift cards, store credits, and highlights your security seals. All the reasons above to prevent purchases all the reasons able to prevent purchases mentioned above. Now, when it comes to repeat sales, proper email marketing may become a great tool to remind customers about your company and convince them to make new purchases. The follow-up email extension, as some other similar solution, creates a new circle flow of visitors, guiding customers directly to website pages without the necessity to engage the top level of the funnel with new impressions. As you can see on the slide, the extension allows reaching your current customers and the ones who refuse to purchase for some reason, and taking them once again into the circle of sales. The more convincing your emails are, the better is the customer lifetime value parameter. Contributing to the general funnel flow rate, it has its rotation speed and effectiveness, which depends particularly on email chain schedules and messages themselves. Email chains are obviously more efficient than individual emails, and if you set their timing properly, may motivate and convert many more customers. Using the extension is specifically beneficial due to the provided A/B testing functionality, where you can always check and improve the effectiveness of your emails. So the follow-up email extension either allows you to take customers out of their passive stance or re-engage them, accelerating both the conversion and repeat sales levels of the funnels. As I have already told, the area of direct influence is very promising as soon as we can improve it at our own. For example, we can even put a lifetime value accelerator inside the funnel and guarantee repeat sales. How can we do this? The answer is subscriptions. Using the subscriptions, customers agree to make purchases regularly during a particular period of time, and no reminders are necessary as purchases are being made according to the subscription schedules. However, the process requires automation, since manual subscription processing is really irritating. The subscriptions and recurring payments extension is indispensable in this case, as it allows creating and processing subscription products massively without any manual operations required from Magento admins. The final stage of the sales process is customer feedback, and it allows customers both understanding the satisfaction with our products and services and generating new sales. We all know that positive, or to be exact, naturally positive reviews work well for this purpose. Just imagine that astonishing 92% of customers read online reviews and 85% trust reviews as much as personal recommendations. However, happy customers are not usually inclined to leave reviews rather than angry ones, unfortunately. But you should not give up on that easily, especially that there are a lot of great tools that allow you to ask customers about online reviews. And the review reminder extension, for example, is also among them. Online reviews bring new customers, while new customers send more reviews. That's how it works, and it's definitely one more customer flow circle within our funnel. So if we combine the funnel and the above tools, we'll get an enhanced funnel looking as follows. Of course, the number of improvements may include many more solutions and tools, and we certainly do not recommend to lean on a limited number of them. Anyway, trying to implement the tracking model based on dynamic sales funnels and flow rate accelerators here at Aheadworks, we may say that it really gives a better vision of the whole sales process and allows us to generate more conscious management decisions. Next time, we are going to discuss some e-commerce metrics really valuable for each online seller. We'll also walk through some exotic, still meaningful KPIs able to enrich your e-commerce analysis and tracking. That's how it sounds, the title of our next webinar. So thank you very much for your attention. Hope that our talk was quite useful and gave you some really valuable ideas to be implemented in your stores. We, of course, looking forward to your feedback. You can send it to the email presented on this slide. So see you next time, and goodbye.